So this is where we ended last night in New Mexico, and this site is ridiculous. Patience and I are thinking we're not going to stay here. We tried everything. We literally took the jack blocks off to get as low as we could go, but we just don't feel safe if there's high winds or anything with how far this is extended. And the tires are barely touching that. That's off the ground. But the fact is that we just don't feel safe.
Everybody loves to watch donkeys. That's how the water once came up here. A long time ago.
Last night I had my first mistake. Caught some branches right there. Hopefully that'll wash out and maybe buff out, but if anybody knows anything on how to get that little scratches and stuff out of the side of an RV, if you're a professional RVer and you've done that before, please let me know. Yesterday was an uneventful day, to say the least. My bike was stolen, scraped up the rig as I just showed you, and then as soon as we finally got it all leveled out, ready to open up the door, we found that the refrigerator lock didn't hold and all of our food was out everywhere. Needless to say, we're gonna put yesterday behind us, move forward, hopefully get our attitudes a little bit better, move to a better spot this morning, more level, feel more safe, secure, and keep on keeping on. So I think we're gonna drive around here, look at the spots before we actually hook up and move. This is definitely one of the most unique things about this state park is you get wild horses just walking around your campground like they own the place, and they probably do. But I seen a herd of wild horses, and earlier this morning he's just by himself, lone wolf. We'll call him Albert. That's Albert. That's true. Maybe you don't. Maybe it's Alberta. Are you Albert or Alberta? Oh, then probably shouldn't. So. Our second home in 2 days. We don't really like moving that often, but we did not feel safe at the last spot. So this spot is still having a big decline. Probably can't see that well on camera, but big decline. It feels a lot better. It's for us a little more secure. All tires are on the ground. All jacks are on the ground. We just wanted to feel safe. Do what you do until you feel safe. I had to actually cut some branches off some trees to get through, and I didn't want to scrape it up again. So it's our second spot.
Looking out my window this morning, I don't see cows, but there's wild horses grazing right there. So cool to see. Pippin's excited. You see the horsies, Pippin? Do you see the horsies out there? That's so exciting, huh? The horsies? Yeah, you see them. No, you can't go outside. You don't see every day. Where we used to live, we used to see deer in our backyard and our front yard, like daily, several times a day. This is something that's different for us to see. That's so cool. We just left Blue Water Lake Campground in New Mexico. We have about a 3.5 hour drive to our next destination in New Mexico. We are going to see if there is enough room to stay at some BLM land. Rob Jaggers Campground. Just trying to remember the name.
So the interesting thing about the Blue Water Lake Campground is it's nestled right between Gallup and Grants. And so you got a Walmart in either one of those, or shopping centers in either one of those, but either one of those is about a half an hour away. And Saturday morning, patients wanted just a couple ingredients that we forgot to get at Walmart, and just so she could make the dinner that night. And I'm like, I don't want to go all the way into Walmart just for a couple things.
So that was like 45-minute drive.
Yeah, just there and back. So I was like maybe 2.5 hour trip, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. So I told there's a country store, but not a lot closer.
25 minutes away.
So I take off and I go down to that country store, and I'm probably a little bit jittery from having my bike stolen, and my guard is up, and patients is telling me that we're in a high crime area and all this stuff, and so my guard's a little up, and I get to the country store and I notice there are no cars around. So I'm like, is it even open? Is the country store even open on a Saturday morning? And I pull in and I'm like, oh, it's open, and I walk in, but as soon as I walk in, 2 cars come up and park right next to my truck. And they had plenty of other places to park, but they decided to park right next to my truck. And so my radar kind of goes up, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm keeping my eye on my truck, making sure that no funny business or anything. And the people come into the store, and it's like 2 or 3 guys in their mid-20s or whatever, and they start shopping, and I'm keeping my eye on the truck and all this stuff. Finally get my stuff that I need, go up to the counter, and one of the guys approaches me and starts talking to me, and I'm like, okay, this is the part where they're trying to distract me and they're going to try and do something. My radar is really high at this point. And the guy takes off his hat and his glasses, and he's like, I didn't do too bad in our brawl that we just had. I'm like, what? And he had a big old black eye, big old puffy eye, and I looked over, and his friend was like, had some scratches on his leg, and was hobbling on his leg and all this stuff. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, we had a fight out in Blue Water. And I'm like, okay, does that happen very often? He's like, oh yeah, every time there's a special occasion, it's kind of a last man standing brawl that we have out here. I'm like, well, what's the occasion? And he's like, well, it's Mother's Day. I'm like, all right, well, if that's what you do for your Mother's Day, that's fun. That's awesome. So I was like, all right, but I'm still kind of checking, and I'm checking out, and I'm watching the truck, and thankfully nothing happened, but it got your antenna up on there, and I'm like, all right, that's what they like to do, is they like to fight on special occasions, like Mother's Day, I guess, in that area. The next day, Sunday morning, patients and I went to a local church in the area, and this lady was praying or giving an opening prayer. And she said, I can't remember, patients. Do you remember what she said in the prayer, just in the opening prayer? Do you remember what she said?
Yeah, it's funny because I think it caught both of us the same way when she was blessing that people would respect other people's possessions.
Yeah, something like that. She was like, let's not covet other people's possessions. Let's help them to leave them alone, or something.
It wasn't covet, but yeah leaving them alone, like not taking other people's possessions, and then thanking the Lord for all that we have and being grateful for what we have.
And so I'm like, that caught my attention. So I'm like, all right, I think we need to leave.
We're driving down the road to church, and some of the homes and everything had bars on the windows, on the doors, and I'm like, is the church down here? Is this going to be? Dave was like a little worried about leaving his truck.
Yeah, should I leave my truck outside?
I'm like, we're going to church. The Lord will bless us.
But so I'm like, we need to leave. And so I'm like, all right, this is not a good area. And so that's my biggest advice to anybody that's traveling. You got a sense that something's wrong, just follow it, and if nothing happens, you're not stupid for feeling that way. You're protecting yourself. And that's what I've learned from this little thing. Nothing happened at the country store. Could just be guys just messing around, having fun. But I was still diligent in watching the truck the whole time because I had that feeling. Nothing happened. But if I did have that feeling and something did happen, then I'd feel really stupid that I didn't listen to my feelings. So moral of the story, that's something that I'm learning from our couple night stay where we were at, and understanding that you just got to be on guard at all times.
I feel though campground that we were in, I didn't feel weary about anything while we were there at the campground. I felt, okay, this is like a better area to be.
I will say this though, that was the only campground that I've ever stayed at in my life camping that they actually shut the gate at 9 o'clock at night. And so I had to hurry back and get in there before one of those nights before the gate was closed. And the guy was waiting for, well, he wasn't waiting for me, he was waiting at the gate, and luckily he saw me coming or he would have shut me and locked me out. So, hey, that's awesome. In that area, I appreciate them doing that.
Yeah, because you had to make a late night phone call and how to leave the campground so you could have internet service for it. Like, it was a Zoom call. And so I told Dave, I'm like, make sure you're back before 9. He's like, oh yeah. So today on our drive, we have about 3.5 hour drive ahead of us. So not too bad. We don't have to make any stops to the store. I meal prepped a meal for us already. So dinner, all we have to do is throw it in the microwave this evening. So that will be easy. Look to do those types of things on moving days where we're traveling to a new destination. That's our plan, to head to that campground. There are only 27 spots that you can camp in that campground.
But the cool thing about this BLM campground is that they have water and power on a BLM campground. Now, if you don't use it, you can stay in a site that's free, but if you use it, it's only $10 a night. So we're like, I've never been in a BLM campground that has water and power.
Yeah.
So I'm going to test that out. And
$10 a night is nothing to what we're compared to. In Utah, we were paying like 38 to 50 something a night.
And on top of that, I haven't experienced it, but in the comments, people are saying that they actually grade the roads and it's really easy. I'm like, what kind of BLM is this? I'm like, that's really nice.
We're gonna go to Roswell, but all the campsites were all booked up there, so we'll go to this area. It's marked on the map as a safe crime. It's very low crime area.
You always have a plan B and a plan C. Well, our plan B is there's a lot of other BLM land around that we'll just look it up. But this one has hookups, so it's the nicest BLM land. We're gonna go, and it's on a Monday. We're trying to get into that routine where we're not traveling on a weekend or close to a weekend, so we're trying to plan our travel days on Monday or Wednesdays, try and get in that routine as we're going.
Yeah, for sure.
We just came to Oso Disc Golf, and we're gonna do some disc golfing here with me, Mr. Pips, the Pace. We're gonna do a disc golf course at Oso Canyon. Just playing the amateur, not pro, and 60 feet par 4 probably on the amateur. Here we are, hole 5, Oso Canyon. I'm only 5 holes in, but so far the course hasn't been too technical. The lines have been wide open. For all my Utah disc golf buddies, I envision it like a Slate Canyon, and the Wasatch Wonder had a baby. Is you have the huge elevations like Slate Canyon, but you have the woodedness and vegetation of the Wanderlust in Midway.
What are you doing?
I'm just enjoying the view.
Sorry. Oh. Up and down a lot of mountains. Good exercise, but be sure and be hungry for dinner, that's for sure. Super pretty. The air is so clean and smells of pine. And there's a slight breeze. You hear the birds. I could bottle up the smell.
When you're out and you realize you left the dog dish in the car, you improvise.
Good boy.
So that's a good course, really good course, really well marked. Baskets are really nice. We were the only people playing this course today, so that's nice. If you're not ready for a hike, don't do this one. You just want to leisurely stroll in the park, don't do this one. But if you want something that's going to challenge you and have some fun, this is a great course to do that with.
I've got to tell you about Rob Jaggers Campground. What a hidden gem in the heart of New Mexico's vast landscapes. Now, we stumbled upon this Bureau of Land Management, or BLM land, which offers running water and full power hookups. I've never seen that before. Running water and full power hookups on BLM land for just 20 bucks a night. But here's the thing. If you're in America, the beautiful pass holder, you can actually snag it for half off. So we were able to stay here for just $10 a night. Now that's a screaming deal. The sites, well, they're spacious and awesome, giving us plenty of room right outside our front door to play Frisbee with Pip. We came in midweek and there were just one or two other campers around, and the campground is really big. And while it did fill up on the weekend with the folks that have their horses, because this is a giant equestrian park, it still felt very peaceful. You're really close to the city of El Capitan and some fascinating historical sites like Fort Stanton. Now here's a really cool piece of history. This area was once known to Billy the Kid and his gang. The nearby Capitan Mountains served as a refuge for this gang. The landscape around Rob Jaggers is steep in Old West history, and that just kind of adds to its rustic charm and an intriguing layer when you guys stay here.
We work for Mr. Tunstall as regulators. We regulate any stealing of his property. We're damn good, too. But you can't be any geek off the street. Gotta be handy with the steel, if you know what I mean. Earn your keep.
Regulators! Mount up!
Now, of course, while we were here, we had to watch the movie Young Guns, because this is where it all took place. It really brought the history to life, knowing that these were the very grounds that were once roamed by Billy the Kid and his gang. Now, from this campground, you got an endless opportunity for hiking, horseback riding, or just soaking up the serenity of the landscape.
After 24 years, we still got it.
I thought you were filming my feet.
No, let's not. Pippin! Pippi, come! Pippin! Pippi, come! Come here! Come here! Oh. Are you so happy? We're so happy. Good boy, buddy. Are you in the water, Pippi? Pippi, no drinking. Are you in the water? Water, Pippi. He's all tuckered out. Should we go get you some treats, bud? Yeah? Get you some yummy treats.
Let me tell you, the night skies, well, they were something else. The stars in New Mexico are so bright. We spent a couple nights just sitting outside and looking up. I mean, how often do you get a chance to do just that? So if you're planning a trip to New Mexico, don't miss out on Rob Jaggers Campground. With its low prices, stunning views, and rich history, it's a must visit. It really is the perfect stop on your journey through old New Mexico. And who knows, we might just see you there.